Welcome to the RAMscaler overview video. In this video, I intend to give you an overview of how RAMscaler works at a very high level. I will cover any limitations with the technology. I will cover how much storage you should expect to get using the technology. And then at the end, I will cover some pricing and overview of comparisons with some other storage technologies available to enterprise customers. So, what does RAMscaler do? So on the left, you see a data center. Many enterprise organizations have these and have many of them. And in these data centers, there's often thousands of servers deployed. And these servers are various age, various brand. And on these servers usually is some type of virtualization technology. And on top of that, applications are running on these servers in virtual machines. So many times, organizations are dealing with efficiency and having to make sure they continue to improve efficiency in the data center. They need to keep TCO down, and they need to compete with public cloud infrastructure. And how are they doing that? They're using advanced technology. They're squeezing every dollar out of the investment they've made in the data center infrastructure. And RAMscaler is key to helping customers keep TCO down and keep the return the customers have made on the investments in the data center as high as possible. So, what do we see? We see lots of unused memory on these servers. Potentially hundreds of gigabytes on each of these servers, completely unused and not able to be used because organizations are comfortable with the amount of applications running on each of these servers and don't want to put more applications on each of these servers in case these servers are out for any reason. Organizations don't want too many applications offline at once. It's risky if you put too many applications on each of these servers. And many organizations have made a decision on the number of applications they will be comfortable running on each of these servers. So, what happens over time is the servers get more and more powerful, they have more and more memory, and therefore more and more memory is unused in these servers. So what do we do at RAMscaler? We take the unused memory on each of these servers, and using the RAMscaler enterprise storage software, we cluster this unused memory together and we present it back as available storage that can be used for applications, can be used by hypervisors, can be used for anything that talks standard storage protocols. So that's at a very high level what the RAMscaler technology does. It gets you better efficiency in your data center and takes advantage of something you're not able to use today. And that's all the available memory sitting on those servers that's unused. So what is the limitations? Well, there aren't very many. It doesn't matter what the server hardware brand you are using is. You could be using Dell, HPE, Cisco UCS, Lenovo, does not matter. As long as the servers are based on an Intel or AMD CPU, we prefer that, then we are supported on these servers. Our software will run on these servers. We put a small amount of our software on each one of these servers. That software analyzes the unused memory, and together on each of the nodes, we cluster that unused memory capacity together, and we present that as storage capacity to whatever application or hypervisor you want. What if there's different amounts of memory available on each server? That doesn't matter either. We support a configuration where some servers have very large amounts of unused memory, other servers have very small amounts. We see it all the time in data centers where servers have been bought over time. The older servers have less unused memory because they have less capacity, and the newer servers have more. And it doesn't matter if there's a combination of different amounts, we cluster it all together and present it back as storage capacity. The RAMscaler software only consumes the memory when data is compressed and stored. This is very interesting. You can install the RAMscaler technology today in your data center, and until you start storing data on it, we don't consume any of the memory. This is very interesting too because we store data with compression. We compress first and then store the data. That means that very large amounts of data can be stored in very small amounts of space because our compression is extremely efficient. So what you're literally getting in the end is fast and limitless storage capacity in your data center using infrastructure you already own and can't use today. So, how much new storage might you get? Well, let's look at this simple equation here and do the math. You have a number of servers in your data center. So how much do you have? Sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands. In this example, let's use 500. How much available memory on average do you have on each of the servers? For this equation, we're going to use 100 gigabytes. And how much compression can we get? In this example, we're going to use a 3-to-1 compression. That's quite conservative. We see quite often between 5 and 10-to-1 compression. So, using a basic equation here, let's look at the amount of available capacity we're able to get with this number of servers and this number of available memory per server. Well, in this equation, we're getting 150 terabytes of what we call raw storage capacity. But that's not available storage capacity. We have at least a 50% take on redundancy. So because the solution is highly redundant, we need at least one copy of the data across the cluster to deal with any outage of any nodes. So we usually get from 150 terabytes available storage of around 75 terabytes. So in this situation, enterprise customers can get 75 terabytes of fast, reliable, scalable, limitless storage using memory they're not using today on all of their 500 servers just by deploying the RAMscaler technology into the data center. So finally, let's do a quick comparison with a known storage brand. Everybody knows, I'm sure, Pure Storage. They've been out for some time and they are a vendor of all flash storage arrays. They are a hardware-based solution like most other storage solutions are. We are not. We are software only. The huge advantage of being software only is we're easy to deploy in your data center. You can test our product out. You can install it in your data center. Look, if you don't like it, you can remove it. There'll be no evidence of it being installed in the first place. Please try our software. It's very easy to try, evaluate in your environment. So let's look at this situation. Sample use cases. I've put some sample use cases on the chart here, and they really talk about, okay, so small deployments of around 10 terabytes of RAMscaler storage, very appropriate for containers and virtual machines. If you want to put databases in memory, then you're going to need more capacity, usually, up to about 50 terabytes, but it really depends on your database. If you want to put virtual desktop infrastructure on RAMscaler storage, again, more storage is needed. And usually we see 100 terabytes or even more than that deployed if VDI is going to be used with RAMscaler. And of course, being software, we scale out. We scale out across your data center to potentially petabytes of storage. And of course, when you get to that capacity, you can literally deploy anything on RAMscaler storage, and you could deploy everything you have on RAMscaler storage. So we have different varying levels of support level agreements. SLAs are around 12 hours for very small configurations, down to 2 hours with larger configurations. RDMA and ROC supported in very large configurations. Same with block storage support, that's iSCSI. So now let's look and compare our product pricing versus Pure Storage. As you can see on the left, this is straight out of Pure Storage's publicly available pricing guide. This is their list pricing for hardware only, and this doesn't actually include any support package with their product or any intermediary technology that you do need, such as network infrastructure, switching, and cabling. So let's look at the comparison. For very small configurations with Pure Storage, you're looking at a little bit more just on the hardware side than is RAMscaler. For medium-sized configurations of around 50 terabytes, Pure Storage is roughly 20% more expensive. With 100 terabytes, more expensive again. Potentially over $200,000 more expensive at around 100 terabytes than is RAMscaler. And look at the very large configurations. Often, RAMscaler is millions of dollars less expensive than alternative storage solutions. And this is not just Pure Storage. This is EMC, NetApp, HPE 3PAR, you name it. All those hardware-based storage solutions out there are horrendously expensive in comparison to RAMscaler. And organizations, enterprise organizations today will get huge value from deploying RAMscaler storage in their data center, because ultimately we are going to take advantage, help you take advantage of memory on those servers you already own that you are not using. So thank you again for your time. Look forward to speaking to you again, and have a great rest of your day.